Roger, the final gap between the two sides was 12 points, but was the real difference that interception try, do you think?
Yeah, I think it came at a stage of the game where, literally a couple of inches higher, that ball would have gone over the top, would have scored a try, and things would have been even, and the momentum could have been with us for the final 20-30 minutes or whatever. So small margins, unfortunately. They got the intercept try, they went 14 points ahead, and it was just very difficult for us to come back from there.
When you're at the back of a scrum that's going forward, going sidewards, the ball's all over the place, how difficult is it for you?
It's always going to be difficult against Leicester. They're similar to ourselves. They pride themselves in their set piece, scrum in particular, and there's a bit of a dogfight at the scrum today, and I think we won 1 or 2 against the head as the day. So it was a difficult day. The office trying to control the ball at the base, and it's usually an area that we're very strong at, but unfortunately we couldn't really get too much dominance there today.
I'm sure this is a question you hate being asked, but positives that you can take from the game. Is there anything that you can take forward and maybe use it as motivation in this Premiership quest?
I think you just got to really. There's a chance. Well, we've got Leicester coming up in a few weeks' time, but there's a chance we could meet them, and and later on in the season in a playoff situation. So we just got to learn from our mistakes. And I mean, I don't think there's many positives you can take from it. You just got to learn from what you did wrong at the time, and I think ultimately we just didn't control the ball very well, especially in that first half. And we were guilty of trying to force a few kind of passes which weren't on, a few offloads which weren't on, and instead of taking things through the phases and trying to play with a bit of tempo, we tried to force it a little bit too much against Leicester. A fiercely competitive rivalry between the two teams. They're not going to defensively, they're not going to shrug off you too much. So there isn't too many positives really. There's a lot of depressed boys in the change room right now, and we've got to put this behind us for the next 6 days coming up. We've got Wasps, so put this behind us, and hopefully the England boys will come back and morale will lift up, and we'll move on, gain a bit of momentum towards the rest of the season.
Just a word on those England boys coming back in. How much is it going to be about managing where they play? Because obviously the young lads in this tournament have done such a good job to get Saints to the final.
Well, that's really up to the coaches. As you say, the boys who have stepped in their places, not only in this tournament but also whenever in the Premiership, they've all put their hands up and played very well. We've pretty much got something out in nearly every game bar today, and it's almost a direct opposite to what it was sort of this time last year. So it's always a good thing, the competitive nature of the squad, and that's up to the coaches really, who they decide on form and who's the right person to take them through to the rest of the season. But I think ultimately it's just going to be good to get the boys back, because they're on a high. They've had a good Six Nations, and hopefully they'll pick their spirits up, after what was a pretty depressing change room there.